Okay, so you know how we always dive into the latest AI news?
Yeah.
Well, this time we're looking at April 11th, 2025.
Big day.
It was. And you sent us a ton of info, as always.
Always so much happening.
Right, so we had to really, sift through it.
Find the gold.
Exactly, and pull out the things that are most important.
The things people really need to know.
Exactly. So no more endless scrolling for you.
We got you covered.
We did the work.
So much to cover, though. Where do we even begin?
Well, I'm thinking hardware is a good place to start.
Always a good place to start.
Google's Ironwood TPU v7.
Oh, yeah, their 7th gen TPU.
Big news. But the question everyone's asking is, how does it stack up against Nvidia?
The GB200 and Blackwell B200.
Right, the big dogs.
Well, if you look at the specs side by side,
Yeah.
the TPU V7, it's looking pretty comparable to the GB200,
Hmm.
and maybe even a little better on power consumption.
Which is a big deal, right?
It's huge,
Hmm.
especially for those massive data centers Google's running.
Makes sense. But I did see some discussion about the lack of MXFP4 and MXFP6 support on the TPU v7.
Right. Those are pretty specific data types.
So maybe not a deal breaker for everyone?
Right. It really depends on the workload.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something to consider.
For sure. And physically, the TPU v7 looks almost identical to the GB200.
Yeah, 8 stacks of HBM3E in memory.
Wow.
2 large compute dies. Like, they're using the same playbook.
It's interesting, though, how they scale.
Right. So Google's using their interchip interconnect.
The ICI.
Yeah. Up to 9,216 chips.
That's a lot.
It is. But they use a 3D torus topology.
Which is like what? A grid.
Yeah, think of it like a grid where each chip connects to its neighbors in a circle.
Okay.
Super scalable, but some say it makes programming a little trickier.
Compared to the GB200.
Yeah, the GB200 uses a switched network.
More direct.
Yeah, so it's a trade-off scalability versus ease of use.
Interesting. So we've got all these specs flying around: FP8 performance,
HBM capacity and bandwidth.
ICI bandwidth, power consumption.
All that good stuff.
And for the Ironwood, or TPU v7, as it's officially known, it's pretty impressive.
We're talking 4,614 teraflops in FP8.
Okay.
192 gigabytes of HBM memory, 7.2 terabits per second bandwidth,
Wow.
and an ICI pushing 1.2 terabits per second bidirectional.
That's a mouthful.
It is. But there's also this theory floating around that the TPU v7 was originally meant to be a training chip.
Really?
Yeah, maybe even called the TPU v6P internally.
Huh.
But then they repurposed it for inference.
Maybe because of those reasoning models everyone's talking about.
Could be. Inference is becoming more and more important.
Definitely. But of course, Google couldn't resist a little bit of marketing hype.
Oh yeah, that claim about the TPU v7 being 2,000 times faster than the latest iPhone.
A little far-fetched.
Maybe just a tad. A more realistic comparison shows it uses about 25% more power than the TPU v6,
Okay.
but delivers around 2.5 times the FLOPS in FP8.
So still a significant improvement.
Definitely. Not quite 2,000 times, though.
All right, well, let's shift gears a bit, talk about some models.
Sounds good.
X.ai just released the APIs for their Grok 3 and Grok 3 mini models.
Elon Musk's company making some moves.
Big time. But there was some confusion about the full Grok 3 model,
Right. Epoch AI initially called it an O1 level model.
which is like GPT-3 level.
Right. But then they deleted that tweet.
Always makes you wonder.
What's going on behind the scenes?
Exactly. But one thing that's clear is that both Grok 3 and Grok 3 Mini have a huge context window.
131,072 tokens.
Like a short novel.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah.
Really important for understanding long pieces of text.
And for Grok 3, they're saying it's especially good at structured tasks.
But it's the Grok 3 Mini that's got people talking.
Why is that?
Well, it supposedly shows you how it's thinking.
Like a behind-the-scenes look.
Exactly. And it's getting really good scores on those reasoning benchmarks.
Interesting. I even saw some reports saying Grok 3 Mini might actually be better than the full Grok 3 in some areas.
Yeah. Or at least it might be the main version they're offering through the API.
Makes sense. Sometimes smaller models are just better for specific tasks.
Right. And speaking of API availability,
Yeah.
Windsurf, the company behind codenamed,
I've heard of them.
they've already added Grok 3 to their platform.
Oh, that was fast.
Yeah, they're using a credit system, 1 credit per user prompt and 1 per tool call.
Okay.
They also have Grok 3 Mini, the thinking version,
Right.
and that's way cheaper. Just 0.1 to 5 credits per message and tool call.
Shows how quickly the industry is adopting these new models.
Absolutely. Moving on, OpenAI just announced some big memory improvements for ChatGPT.
What does that even mean?
Basically, ChatGPT will be able to remember your past conversations.
So it'll be more personalized.
Exactly. Like it actually knows you.
Kind of creepy, but kind of cool.
Right. It's rolling out to pro users first, then plus users.
But not everywhere, right?
Right. Not in the EEA, UK, Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, or Liechtenstein.
Sounds like some data privacy issues.
Probably. But if you do have access, you can choose to opt out of the memory feature.
Okay.
Or you can use a temporary chat for conversations you don't want it to remember.
So you have some control.
Exactly. Some people are saying this memory thing could be a game changer.
Really?
Yeah, like as big as the scaling laws we've seen with large language models.
That's huge.
Right. But early feedback is mixed.
What are people saying?
Some say it's not that impressive yet.
Mm.
And there are concerns about accuracy.
Mm.
You know, will it remember things correctly?
Good point.
And will it stay accurate over time with all that information?
So more questions than answers right now.
Pretty much. But it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
For sure. Now for something completely different,
Hit me.
U.S. tariffs and AI.
Oh yeah, this is a big one.
It is. People are worried that while IP might be safe,
Tariffs on hardware could really slow things down.
especially for building those giant data centers.
Exactly. And there's this view that the industry might be missing the bigger picture.
Like the implications are more complex than they seem.
Right. But then there's the opposite argument that tariffs could actually hurt new U.S. hardware companies.
By making things more expensive.
Yeah, and making it harder to get those crucial components.
So it's a double-edged sword.
For sure. A lot of uncertainty there.
Definitely. Now let's check in on Quinn 3.
Oh yeah, how's that coming along?
Well, the dev team had to walk back some claims that it was about to drop.
Ah, so not ready yet?
Nope. Still needs some more time.
Makes sense. It's only been 6 months since Quinn 2.5.
Right. But people are definitely curious what they've been working on.
Yeah, the hype is real.
Okay, so Google's also been busy in the world of AI agents.
What are they up to?
They launched their agent development kit.
The 80K?
Yep. It's all about standardizing how agents talk to each other.
Crucial for building those multi-agent systems.
Right. And they also announced their agent-to-agent protocol,
A2A.
which streamlines communication between agents.
But some see this as competing with the Model Context Protocol.
The MC.
Yeah, which is more about creating a platform for agent tools.
So two different approaches.
Right. And there's already someone who's moved their agent over to the 80K.
What are they saying about it?
They like the better communication and the ability to make more dynamic prompts.
Interesting. So maybe Google's trying to steer things in their own direction.
Potentially.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Definitely. Now, one last thing.
Okay.
This Opus thing,
What about it?
well, it wasn't mentioned directly in the stuff you sent,
Right.
but apparently Claude 3.5 Sonnet and this model called O3 Mini have massive context windows.
Like 200,000 tokens.
Which is insane.
It is. Think about analyzing huge code bases
No.
or summarizing long research papers.
Crazy. So Claude's really stepping up its game.
Absolutely. We're seeing some major leaps in what these models can do.
So much to think about.
So much happening so quickly,
It's almost overwhelming.
but it's also incredibly exciting.
It is. We've covered a lot today. Hardware wars, new models, tariffs, AI agents.
And the pace of innovation just keeps accelerating.
It does. But all these advancements raise some big questions.
Like, how will these different hardware approaches affect AI applications?
And will ChatGPT's memory really change how we interact with it?
And what about the impact of global trade policies on AI development?
So many things to consider.
Yeah. But ultimately, how will all these pieces fit together?
To create the AI-powered future.
Exactly. And understanding these developments is more important than ever.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure. Always fun to explore the cutting edge of AI.
And for everyone listening, thanks for tuning in.
Stay curious out there.
And we'll see you next time.
Until then.
Bye.